Today's video is all about all of the stuff you need to know if you're planning on buying a house in 2025. And in fact, we're using this stuff for ourselves as we're out looking to buy our next personal home. Hello everyone, this is Chris Morton with the Morton Bradbury Real Estate Group. And there's been a lot of mistakes that we've made along the road of trying to find our next home. And so part of this video is going to be a confessional where I'm going to give you some of the details of some of the mistakes we've made. We're not too proud to admit them. And hopefully you're going to be able to learn from some of those, but there's also some practical tips as well, like the first one. So the very first thing you need to do before you start looking for your next home is make a plan. We say this all the time on this channel. You've got to sit down and decide what it is you want in a house. It's sort of like driving from North Carolina to California, but not navving it. You just start getting in your car and willy-nilly driving. It's unlikely you're gonna find your destination if you go in that route. Same thing without making a plan. You wanna list out your wants and your needs and say, okay, I absolutely want to have this in a house, must have this, and I absolutely must not have this in a house. For example, Winston the Australian Shepherd's around here somewhere. We can't buy a house, we can't buy a condo. High-rise condo, because he would never have enough room to run around and get the energy out. So that a condo is a must not have for us. We ran into this situation, confessional time, we ran into this situation recently where there was this amazing house that we really liked the look of. We got emotionally attached to it. More on that topic in a bit here, but we looked at our list after we came back from looking at this home and going through the home, and we realized only 3 of our must-have things was on the list based on this house, and it wouldn't work for us. It just didn't have all that we needed in a house, and so we had to pass that house by and not end up buying it. Thankfully, we didn't buy it because we'd have been miserable. Don't ever buy a house that doesn't have at least 7, 8 things on your list. And by the way, if you're out looking for a house, here's a little pro tip. If you're out looking for a house and this house has 9 or 10 of your must-have things on it, run to somewhere that you can write up an offer on this house. These are the unicorns of your life. They do not come along every day. You will regret not buying this house. Lots of people see a house that's a 9 or a 10 on their list and they think, oh, well, if there's one 9 or 10, there's got to be another 9 or 10 house just around the river bend. Well, there ain't. You're going to regret it. Jump on that house as soon as you see it. Definitely when we see a 9 or 10, we're going to be making that offer very quickly. The next thing I can tell you, and this is huge, buy the city, not the house. We tell this to our clients all the time, especially folks coming in from out of state that don't know anything about the Raleigh Triangle area. They get fixated on, I must have a house that has this, and they start searching on Zillow. Well, Zillow's great and all the other portals are great and all, but they don't tell you the real story of what's going on. You need to buy a city first. And what I mean by that is you're coming to the area, or maybe you live here already, explore the areas based on that wants list and needs list and must not have list, and pick a city or cities that kind of fit the bill for what your lifestyle requires. For example, if you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's parts of the Raleigh Triangle area that really would work for you, that you really would want to think about living in. Maybe you don't want to live in downtown Raleigh, even though it's walkable, because there's really not like a giant park like Dick's Park that's super duper close. You can get to it, but you get my point. There's areas that don't match up to your needs. Probably a better example is if you're a Costco-aholic like I am. There's 4 places in the Raleigh Triangle area that have a Costco. So those areas and around those areas are probably where I'm going to want to concentrate my efforts to buy my next house. Actually, you can throw in Wake Forest because Costco is coming to Wake Forest, but you get my point. If you love Trader Joe's, there's certain places where there's a Trader Joe's around, and if you want to be within a 10-minute drive of Trader Joe's, you probably don't want to live in Zebulon because you ain't going to get there from there. And by the way, as you're going down and narrowing these cities, we have 25 exploratory guides that you can access through our mobile app. Link is below to get details on all of the different 25 cities of the Raleigh Triangle area to help you narrow things down. So that way, once you've narrowed down which cities are best for you, you can then decide which house in those cities are best for you. Another thing you need to do once you've kind of narrowed down the cities you want to be in is research the real estate market in those cities. So this is kind of a weird thing, and it definitely would behoove you to hire a real estate broker to help you through this process. reach out to us. We're happy to help you, of course. But there's some nuances in our market. Some areas of the Raleigh Triangle area are booming right now. Literally in North Raleigh, Bedford at Falls River, for example, one of the neighborhoods we've been looking in, homes are selling in a matter of days and are selling for over asking price. One home, for example, sold for $200,000 over asking price just a month ago in early spring 2025. So all the rumors and news you hear about market crashing, it's not the case. There are pockets of our area that are really, really doing well. Now, there's other areas where things are slow. You need to decide which area you're moving to and how much money you're gonna need to go over, or if you're gonna be able to get a deal. This is a crucial step. You don't wanna waste money by overpaying. You don't want to lose a house by underpaying. The next thing we can tell you, and this is something we've been so guilty of, do not get emotionally attached to a home before you move in. So it's so easy to do this, and this is where you really need to stick to your guns on that must have and want to have and must not have list. A few years ago, before we bought this house that we're in now, we were out looking and in a neighborhood that we both had an emotional attachment to already, so we were behind the eight ball on that one. Found this great house, loved it. It looked great, had been decorated well. It made it easy for us to move right in, didn't have a lot of work to do on it. And we got really emotionally attached to the house. And as we went through the process of trying to place furniture, we made an offer on the house, over asking price, won the deal. And as we were going through the process of like placing furniture, we realized, we're gonna have to use this closet for clothes because the main closet is too tiny, stuff like that. And luckily the deal fell apart. We lost a little due diligence money, unfortunately, but it turned out to be the best thing for us because it wasn't the right house for us. We got emotionally attached to a house that we shouldn't have done that to. So do not be emotionally attached to something until you actually own it. Look at it as a transaction first. Go through the process of saying, okay, this house is hitting 7, 8, 9 of our must-haves. This is a good house for us. Win the deal. Get the inspections done, move in, and then get emotionally attached to the house. Don't waste money by getting emotionally attached to a house that doesn't work for you. The next recommendation I have for you is inspect the home before you make an offer. Now, obviously, sometimes time crunches are such that you're not able to do a full inspection with an inspector to come out that you've paid for to inspect a home before you buy it. That happens quite often that you don't have the time for that, but you can do an inspection of your own. And this all comes back to not being emotionally involved and attached to a home on the front end. If you look at it as something that is like a product, you're inspecting a computer to decide if you're gonna buy it, same with inspecting the house that you're gonna buy it. If you're gonna look through that house, you're gonna see maybe cracks in the foundation, you're gonna see maybe mold, you're gonna see some weird stuff going on in the house, maybe it's slanted and structural issues. All kinds of stuff could be going on. Maybe the yard is not really a good yard for your lifestyle. These are all things that you can inspect ahead of time. And also, this is another great example of why you would want to have your own buyer agency representation to help you do this. A buyer agent is not going to be emotionally attached to your transaction unless, of course, they're one of the agents who don't sell a lot of real estate. Then they are going to be emotionally attached to your transaction because they're going to want to make money by you buying that house, and may, unfortunately, some of them talk you into buying that house. So definitely get a more experienced agent that's sold a lot of houses and isn't dependent on your commission check to feed their family this month. But anyway, I digress. You want to emotionally detach yourself. You want to maybe have an agent there with you to inspect the home, to look for all those flaws. This will save you money so you don't end up buying a house, putting due diligence money down, and then having to terminate that transaction and lose that money. These are all things you need to know ahead of time before you walk into a home. Go in without the rose-colored glasses on. The next big thing I can tell you is don't get hung up on buying a new construction home. So we are actually number 3, I believe, new construction buyer team in the entire triangle out of 14,000 agents. What that tells you is we have a lot of people coming to us and they want to buy new construction. And we love new construction, but don't get hung up on only buying new construction. There's great opportunities buying a resale home. For example, resale homes in general are closer into the city. They probably are a less expensive price per square foot. They're in a more mature, developed area. All the things people like, you can get in a resale home. Now, don't get me wrong. We love new construction homes too. We've got new construction homes in our search parameters, but there's something about the charm of an existing home in a mature neighborhood, all of that stuff with the big trees and all that stuff. So don't get hung up on only new construction. And by the way, here's another good little tip that I can throw in there. Don't get scared of fixer-uppers. Their home may look ugly, cabinets may look weird, countertops may look ugly, whatever. We have vendors that we can provide you that's going to be able to make that process smoother, so that you can buy a fixer-upper. You're probably going to get it for way less money than you would pay for any other kind of home. And you can arrange things such that the work gets done quickly. You can move right in, save yourself some money, and be in a great area and likely have instant equity. So don't be afraid of a resale home. Again, we can help talk you through the process of pros and cons of resale versus new construction. We're happy to do that. And on the flip side, don't exclude new construction homes either. So there are a lot of new construction homes out in the Raleigh Triangle area. Unfortunately, a lot of them tend to be further out, away from the city, and so that kind of makes some people skittish about going in that direction. But I would still strongly recommend you leave new construction on the list. Yeah, you're probably going to get a smaller home for the same money you'd buy resale, but you're getting a lot of advantages. You're getting that new home smell, as I jokingly say. You're getting a warranty that the builder provides. You're getting all the appliances and everything are new, all the major systems, roof, heating and air, all the stuff that could cause trouble in a resale home, those are going to be handled and brand new and taken care of. Also, there's likely going to be incentives that the builder's providing currently, maybe interest rate buy down, maybe help with closing costs. There's all kinds of things that could benefit you by buying new construction. And in general, it just makes the process that much easier, which again is one of the reasons why we get so many people coming to us to want to buy new construction homes. So don't exclude resale homes, don't exclude new construction homes from your parameters. Just go with the flow of those two and concentrate on what features are in the home that you absolutely must have and absolutely must not have to find your successful next home. The next big one I could give you, please listen to this. Get your finances in order right now. Yes, I know you're probably thinking you're going to buy a home in a year or so. And in fact, we have people coming to us all the time saying, I'm moving to the Raleigh Triangle area. I don't want to buy for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever that is. They say, and so I know I don't need to worry about my mortgage issue right now or whatever. And we always tell them, no, that's not the case. You absolutely need to deal with that now. Reason being, when you go talk to a mortgage professional right now, you're going to have them do a soft pull, which does not impact your credit, but it's going to tell them if you have something on your credit report that's goofy. Maybe you're like my client from 5, 6, 7 years, maybe 8 years ago at this point, who was buying a home, got all the way to closing, and found out his father's credit issues. He was a junior, Tom Smith Jr. instead of Tom Smith. It wasn't Tom Smith, wasn't their name. I'm making that up. It's for all you Tom Smiths out there. But Tom Smith Jr. had some credit issues on his credit report because of dad. Had he known that ahead of time, actually it was a tax thing. So we had to go to the IRS, and that takes like a month to get the report back, if I remember it correctly. Sorry. Anyway, had we known that ahead of time, that could have been handled months and months in advance. Instead, it waited until the end when it was uncovered through the attorney doing searches and stuff. And so we had to delay closing, unfortunately. So if you get a soft pull on your credit now, it doesn't impact your credit report, but something like that lien thing would have showed up. It could have been corrected. Now, for all you cash buyers out there, the same thing. We had buyers who were looking to move cash from a credit union in California to North Carolina. We did not do or did not even think, because I, in all the years of selling real estate, have never had an issue where a credit union would only max out a certain amount of money that you could wire per day, and then it would be 24 hours before you could wire more. So we didn't know this. So we didn't get our facts in gear with the credit union or wherever the source of money is for my client. And so we had to delay closing while the money trickled in over a period of days. So if you're planning on using cash, you may need to liquidate investments or whatever. That's something you want to do ahead of time. So my advice, get with your financial advisor if you're a cash buyer. Get those plans in place now before you even start looking. Even if you're a year, 2 years out, it's best to know the how-tos as opposed to waiting until the last minute to do it. So Hope that's helpful. And speaking of all of our clients that are looking to buy a home in a year or two and they think they're way too early in the process, and maybe you're in that same boat, don't think you're too early to be looking at a home. If you are absolutely going to buy a new construction home, there's some new construction homes that take 18 months or so to build. So you want to prepare ahead of time. If you're planning on moving into your new construction home in a year, you probably would need to be looking now to kind of line things up, to know. Some of the builders out there have sort of lotteries where they pull your name out of a hat and you have to be at the lottery place at their office on this date, and that they don't start building your home for a couple of months and then it's ready. We have clients right now that we're helping who we had to be at the office of the builder Sunday morning at 10 o'clock and line up. And whoever wanted whatever plan and whatever lot at the front of the line, they got to choose first, and then number 2 person, and then number 3 person, and number 4 person. We were luckily number 3 person, and the first 2 people didn't want the lot that my clients wanted, thankfully. So we were all okay. But you can imagine if you were like, la 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 la, going through life, and you didn't know that you had to be at that place, and you absolutely wanted lot 123 to build your new construction home on, well, guess what? You might have needed to have been at the lot draw meeting on a Sunday morning at 9:30 in the morning to get lot 123 like my folks did. The home didn't even get started for a month after the lot draw. So now they're not moving in until end of July, and the lot draw was January. So that's a 7-month process. So most people think, oh, I'm not really ready to buy a home until just the summer. I don't need to worry about it now. You need to worry about it now. Get your ducks in a row. Start looking now, no matter how early it is, to get things lined up so that you make the process smooth and seamless for yourself. And another thing I can warn you about and prepare you for is beware of the sellers who are testing the market. We're seeing this a lot in 2025. It's the people who don't need to sell, they're not motivated to sell, but they're just curious if they could get their price. So maybe they live in a $600,000 home. They're gonna put it on the market for $675,000, $700,000 just to see if anyone bites. And you really can't blame them. Imagine if you lived in that $600,000 home and someone knocked on your door and said, hey, I love your home, can I pay you $700,000 for this? You would probably take that offer. So you can't blame them for testing the waters. The whole theory behind this process is that someone from out of state, probably from California or New York, they've got tons of cash in their pocket from selling their home in one of those states. They come here and they don't really know the market very well, and so they're just willy-nilly making offers on properties and way overpaying for things. And that's kind of what the sellers are thinking. We might as well fish for a big fish. Maybe we'll get a great offer on our home. We'll worry about the other issues later about finding our next home, but let's make a good profit. And why this is a big negative for you is it's pushing up comparable values in certain areas. Again, back to that neighborhood that we looked in a few months back, that the house went $200,000 over asking price. Home was probably not worth that. In fact, I know it wasn't worth that, but someone came in and overpaid for that house, and now that is a comparable price for that part of North Raleigh. This is not happening everywhere. You're not seeing people testing the waters everywhere, but just know that this is a reality and it's something you need to be prepared for when you're out looking around. Again, back to it, don't get emotionally involved and attached to a home until you actually own the home, because likely someone could come along and overpay for your home, your dream home, and then leave you out in the cold. So if all this sounds stressful and confusing, you probably need some professional advice. Connect with us. Our information is below. We're gonna be happy to help guide you through this process to make this a lot simpler and easier for you and a lot less stressful. It ain't easy out there, I understand, but we do this every day. We're happy to help. And by the way, check out this video. We think you're really gonna like this one as well. And of course, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.